What's up, folks? It's Southern Comic Geek coming to you with another Talking About It video. That's right. I've got somebody we want to know a little bit about Wonder Woman. I'm not a woman. Let's start those over. I'm not a Wonder Woman aficionado, but I do have somebody here with me that is, and we're here to talk about it today, and that is Magic Lasso. What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today. I'm excited. I know just a little bit about the subject today.
You've read a few comics or one or two, huh?
I have. I'm a little familiar with her. I don't know if I chose her or if she chose me.
Oh, okay. So sometimes when you're talking to people, and that's the type of people with these kind of conversations I like to have on the show, is people that are so passionate about one particular character. Obviously, you've got other things in your collection, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's something about Wonder Woman, her character, her mythos, how she's been portrayed over the years that has got you to this point to where you're known as a Wonder Woman guy. So we'll talk about that today. But that's the exciting thing about these shows is learning something. In some cases, like when I had Justin from No Good Comics on, we were talking about X-Men. So I knew a little bit a few things on X-Men, but when it comes to Wonder Woman, you're going to be largely schooling me as much as maybe the chat. So feel free to go all Wonder Woman nerdy on us and show the love to the Wonder Woman. And as I was sharing with him earlier, I did put a little Gal Gadot right there behind for everybody's viewing pleasure. And so we've already got some folks in the chat. We've got Las Cruces 1971. What is going on? Ruben Guzman, Cowabunga, fellow geeks. We've got Copy 801 up in the house. Jeff Schultz with One Love from Chicago. And we've got Peanut Butter. Then we've got Nosh up in the house. Not sure how long I can stay. I appreciate that. Nosh is always catch things on the rewind if he can't get it live. And then we got Freaky Louie. Diana Prince rules. So we do appreciate everybody for joining us, whether you watch us live or on the rewind. We appreciate you. Be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell notification so that you don't miss videos like this when they drop ever so randomly. But as long as you watch it, we do appreciate you. We'll go ahead and say from the outset that we do have some giveaways. I know it's a surprising thing that I'm going to be giving away some books. It's like, you know, Southern Comic Santa or something. I don't know. But I do like to give away some books, and in appreciation for people like yourself that are taking the time to watch these videos as opposed to something else or doing something else in your life. And we do appreciate that. So one of the things that's going to have to happen in order for us to give a giveaway today is we're going to have to get this man here over 400 subs. Okay, he is currently at $3.99. $3.99. If your math skills are not up to par, that is only one away from hitting the big 400. And so any of you that are in the chat right now aren't already subbed to Magic Lasso, go check him out. He drops content. He does some Wonder Woman knowledge videos. He had a huge AOK the other day. He's been the No Faces chat guy for a long time, but now he's starting to make some cameos and some first appearances and such in other places. Go sub him up and take care of that. So that is going to be the first order of business. And then if we get some more people up in the chat, we're going to be giving away a John Byrne Wonder Woman issue. This is 106. And then we're also going to give away a newer book, Death Metal number 7. This is the Wonder Woman Capullo cover right here. And it is also the cameo of the new Brazilian Wonder Woman, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point in this video. So if anybody has not subbed up to Magic Lasso, go sub him up. And if you put him over 400, let me know in the comments below. So with that, let's dive into talking about some Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Awesome giveaway, by the way.
Thank you. We've got Burke Family 54 up in the house. What is going on? Cyborg Dad Mystery. Yeah, burn, baby, burn. Wonder Woman Inferno. Okay, we'll stop that before I get copyrighted or something. So let's talk about you. How did you get into this crazy game called comics, and in particular into Wonder Woman?
I grew up at a time where superheroes were everywhere around me. And I mean, in terms of, and trust me, I'm from originally a very small town. I mean, no fast food, no stoplight, no department stores, nothing like that. But still, there were superhero color forms. There were superhero shrinky dinks. There were superhero board games. There were superhero record albums with stories, and obviously comic books. I mean, superheroes were on your lunch bag. They were on your wastebasket. They were on your shoes, underoos, all of that. So superhero, I never remember not knowing or having superheroes around me. But for some reason, I just saw we hit 400. Thank you, Cyborg Dad Mystery. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for the update, Captain Comics. You beat me to it, but happy birthday to you too, sir. And we've got a bunch of other folks piling up in the house, so appreciate that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So at some point I had comic books, and I don't know exactly what my first comic book of any title is, but I know it was not a Wonder Woman comic book. I became familiar with Wonder Woman from the Justice League comic books and the Super Friends comic books, but I would say I was heavily influenced by the Super Friends cartoon. Also, at the same time, the Linda Carter TV series was airing. And I think all of that rolled together, just something about her. I don't know if she's very colorful. I don't know if it's the costume. Something about her just really drew me right to her. And I remember saying to my parents after reading either a Super Friends or a Justice League comic book, oh, I wish that I like Wonder Woman. I wish that, she had her own book. And they said, she did. And I was shocked. And it took a few weeks, but they found me the next current issue, picked that up for me. And I've been a fan since then. I'd say since age 5, if I had to guess. What I do really remember, I would watch the Linda Carter Wonder Woman TV show. And when it was done, I would go in my bedroom, shut the door, and I would sit down on my knees and I'd pray and I'd say, God, I want to meet Linda Carter so bad. I just want to meet Linda Carter. And I had not thought of that memory in so long. And it was funny. I was in line to meet Linda Carter after a show she did in Chicago.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I was 2 or 3 people back in line, and all of a sudden that memory flashed to me. And I told her about that. And unsolicited, she just put her arms around me and gave me the biggest hug. And she wasn't like what I thought she would be in person. Mm-hmm. She was better.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because sometimes you hear celebrities being all kind of put offish and stuff like that. So, all right. Well, that's
I don't know. Quite honestly, I don't know if I would want to meet her again because the first experience was so good. I don't know if another experience could top that. And I might want to just not do that and retire, as the heavyweight champion.
Right. Yeah. And it makes sense. And talking about that, so how old are you? I hope it's okay if I ask you that.
I was born in 73.
Okay. So I was born in 78. So you're only 5 years older than me.
Yep.
So one of the things as I was kind of thinking through today, she was the first woman I had a dream of meeting and dating. Okay. So I was it was 1983. So I don't know if the show had already gone off air and it was already in syndication or whatever, but I was in an apartment in Monticello, Mississippi. Talking about small towns, we had 3 lights and that was about it. But there she was at that apartment. And so it was just like, wow. I mean, it's just like, and what you were talking about earlier, I think before the show started, is just like she was born to play that part. It's like she walked out of the comic book into that part.
People say that casting Linda Carter as Wonder Woman was the first time that Hollywood ever hit a 100% home run in casting.
Yeah. So now Jeff has a question here for you.
There was another Wonder Woman before Linda Carter. And not only am I going to answer that, I'm going to talk about another animated Wonder Woman before the Super Friends Wonder Woman. But we'll start with the first one. Kathie Lee Crosby played Wonder Woman in a made-for-TV movie in 1974. And those who are familiar with Kathie Lee Crosby, she's blonde. And she was blonde. And she had an outfit that was definitely based on Wonder Woman, but it never looked like anything that Wonder Woman wore. She didn't wear a tiara. She wore pants. It was, and like the whole world knew that she was Wonder Woman, but she still had a Diana Prince identity. And if it sounds like it didn't make sense, it didn't. But I know there's been some people that have been knocking the Wonder Woman 1984 movie and saying it's a bad movie. I don't agree with that. But if you want to see a bad Wonder Woman movie, the Kathie Lee Crosby one is the one to check out. So, but even that, I have to say, still holds a piece of nostalgia for me too. And I have I'm lucky I have a signed and personalized from Kathie Lee Crosby from the Wonder Woman. And I still cherish that because it's part of the mythos.
Yeah. Well, and you got a good point there. But if you think about it, some of the worst movies of all time have now gained a cult following since they've gone off, right? Because people went back and looked at them and said, they're really not that bad, or it's so much ingrained with a character or characters that they like that we're willing to kind of overlook some of the bad stuff for good stuff, right?
So I want to answer the other part of that too, because I said Super Friends was not Wonder Woman's first animated appearance. Do you have any idea where it was? And I'll give you a hint. It was not on a superhero cartoon.
I have no clue.
Wonder Woman's first animated appearance came in the 1960s. She was in an episode of the Brady Kids, the Brady Bunch as children, and they teamed up with Wonder Woman for an episode once.
Oh, wow.
But I should also mention too, there was a Wonder Woman pilot that was filmed in the 1960s, done by the same folks that did the Batman 1960s TV series. So that never broadcast, it never went anywhere, but the pilot you can find online too. So it was kind of done as a farce and a spoof, kind of how Batman was. As a matter of fact, there were two different actresses that would play Wonder Woman. There was a kind of an unattractive woman who was Wonder Woman, but when she looked in the mirror, she saw a beautiful reflection back, which was a different actress. So
Freaky Louie's talking about the electric company.
They had Spider-Man, but it was not Wonder Woman. It was Brady Kids, the animated Brady Kids. It's an episode called "It's All Greek to Me."
Huh. Wow. Well, cool. And so we've got some more people in the chat. I do want to go ahead and say again, as we've got some more people since the last time I said this, I am going to be giving a giveaway. We've already got him over 400 subs, so thank you there. If you haven't already subbed to him, go ahead and bump him up a little bit more over 400. That will be fine by him, I'm sure. Yes. And also, we want to get at least 20 people in the chat. We've got 10 people now. I know today is a holiday for a lot of folks, and a lot of folks are off work and whatnot. So if you don't mind sharing this out on the IGs and getting some more folks in, we're going to give away a Dark Knight Death Metal #7, the Wonder Woman foil cover there, and also John Byrne Wonder Woman 106. And so, that is going to be our giveaway for today. Awesome. Mom said don't play with Wonder Woman in the house.
That's right.
Marsha. But Warlord up in the house. What's going on, Warlord?
Hey, Warlord.
Hey, I just noticed on your logo, that's you up in there. Okay. You changed the logo a little bit. Yeah, and cool. I didn't notice it till just then. But cool. So you got into collecting Wonder Woman. For me, growing up where I was at, I don't know if it was just, whatever, but there was a lot less DC available where I was at. It was more Marvel. Even at the newsstands, whether it was the grocery store, whether it was the little convenience store around the corner, it was almost always Marvel. And if they had DC, and that's an if, it was going to be Batman or Superman.
Interesting.
And so, I've talked to other people that, got into DC as opposed to Marvel and, all that kind of good stuff. And it's just interesting because to me, I think there's a geographical correlation to it. But
sure. I did not share that experience. There was DC everywhere. And I'd say DC and Marvel, but if it leaned one way, it would be more DC, but maybe by 5 to 10% more. But
Okay.
I saw DC everywhere. I saw a lot of Marvel too, but I definitely saw DC everywhere growing up.
Huh. Yeah. Well, so DC, the only thing that I really collect of DC personally is Batman. I've got Batman, well, the volume 2 and 3, I've got those, but on volume 1, I've got 300 to 713. And so I'm collecting the 200s now. So I need a few less than 6, it's like 57 or so to have 200 to 713.
Wow, that's
And
great.
like you said with Wonder Woman earlier, I have some of the older ones. I've got like 8 and 13 and some of those, but as far as sequential numbering. So talking about that, I know you've got a huge Wonder Woman collection. Anybody that likes Wonder Woman would be envious of. So why don't you tell us about it? What's your Wonder Woman collection look like?
My Wonder Woman collection, and I'm more than just a Wonder Woman comic book collector. I collect a lot of the merchandise too.
Okay.
I don't have it here with me because most of my stuff is in storage right now, but I actually own what is believed to be the very first Wonder Woman collectible outside of a comic book, which was it's a 1940s Valentine.
Huh.
So I do own one of those, and I'm really happy to have that. But you'd be surprised at the things that Wonder Woman has been on, from lava lamps to kids' bikes to the Underoos to all sorts of weird stuff. Candles. I have Wonder Woman candles. That's different. So.
Well, you were talking about, and I said what I did earlier about comics. That was not the case in toys and or collectibles, because DC had the market in my area before the Secret Wars, and they had those shields.
Sure.
So before that, they had Super Friends, all that. My sister and me are only 18 months apart, so typically when we were growing up, I had the boy version of something, she had the girl version of something, right?
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And so I had the Superman underoos. She had the Wonder Woman underoos. Yeah. And I'm trying to think of what those things are called, but it's a circle and it's a little metal bar that circles over, and you roll it down, the ball rolls up, and then
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of the name of it, but I had a Super. She had a Wonder Woman one, right? And so that was really fun memories. But so how does one figure out that, like you said with the Valentine, are there like Wonder Woman forums that specifically geared
oh my gosh, yes.
Time?
And it's not just one. There are so many Wonder Woman collectors out there, and there's several different groups, several different websites that are just focused to Wonder Woman collectors. And one day I started looking, I was curious, I'm like, well, I mean, is it that prevalent for like Aquaman collectors or Green Lantern collectors or Flash collectors? And I started looking, and I'm like, I find a little bit here and there, but not to the way that the Wonder Woman collectors have. And there's some folks that collect specific types of stuff. Some are just interested in the Linda Carter TV era stuff. Others do the comics and the collectibles. Some just do collectibles from the 1970s. Most of the big amount of the vintage collectibles came in the mid to late 1970s to tie in with the TV show.
Sure. So do you have like a threshold that you say, okay, if this, because you only got so much room, right? All of us are usually, space constraint to some length or another. So do you have, okay, I'm not going to buy this little dollar collectible, but if it's such and such, or do you have certain things in the collectible market that you go after?
There's two things that I go after. Number one, I don't do anything logo anymore. So if it just has the logo on it and no picture of her, no.
Okay.
But other than that, it's kind of subject to how to just, it's to my liking, essentially. Is there something about this that just draws something to me? Like behind me, you see that's a Big Fig action figure, and I'm really drawn to those. And so that was just released maybe 6 months ago. I had to have that. So
who done that?
That's let me grab that.
All right. Oh wow. Yeah, and it's got the is those covers from the comics? Yeah. Looking at some of them. So you just found that at like a Walmart or a Target somewhere?
It actually was from a store that I don't have in my area. And I ended up having to get it online, but I got it and didn't have to pay much over what it cost in the store.
Huh. Well, Freaky Louie is asking, did you get that a Wonder Woman giant emblem from a comic shop?
No, I got that from DGC, D-Runk Comics.
Oh.
So that was a gift from D-Runk. He got that. His wife found it, part of a Wonder Woman makeup display at a Walgreens, I think.
Huh.
And they were tearing it down, and she got the logo and gave it to him. And he said, I know exactly who needs to have that. And I loved it so much. I said, hey, at that time I hadn't been doing live, but I said, when you start seeing me going live, you'll be seeing that in the background.
Okay. So so I'm assuming you have like the new Wonder Woman action figures, like with the Dark Line ones that just came out.
Yep, I do have those.
So cool. Well, so anything that basically tickles that nostalgic funny bone for you, right?
Yeah. I really like the older stuff. I really love the vintage. I just have a weakness for that, but there's still some modern stuff that comes out too that I'm like, that's really good, or that's really nice, and I have to have that. I've got a weakness for posters. I have so many posters. I would never be able to have the wall space to put up everything that I have, but posters are a big weakness for me. So,
okay. So
but right now I've been really focused on the comic books the last couple years.
So do you just have the main Wonder Woman line, or does like all cameos count?
I started with the main line, and I wasn't doing cameos or guest appearances, and now I'm starting to get into that. I'm really fortunate that Wonder Woman Volume 1, issue number 98 is her first Silver Age appearance. And I'm 3 books away from having Wonder Woman 98 on up to present in her own titles.
Oh, wow.
So 3 books away seems very doable right now.
Yeah. And so I'm assuming they're more closer to the 90.
It's 100, 102. And I have a 104, but I have to replace it because it's incomplete. I didn't know it when I bought it that there's 4 pages missing inside it. So I don't have it, but technically I do have it. But
so 100, 102, and 104 are the only 3 that you're missing to have 98.
To have Wonder Woman Silver Age on up. On her
so you have the Rebirth, you have, New 52, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I mean, you look at something, you can't talk about Wonder Woman without mentioning a cover like this. Oh, I'm still learning where I need to go.
There you go.
George Perez from Volume 2. I mean, what a cover. That's a wraparound cover too. You can't go wrong with an image like that. While we're staying in Volume 2, look at this. This is one, I know Cookie's in the chat. Cookie's going to recognize that.
Yeah, Brian Boland cover.
Yeah, Cookie sent me this. So, I mean, that's so iconic. And this image too, they did a statue of it. And on the flip side, you see her shield and her armor. Do you have any guess what's actually on the flip side of that shield and the bows and the arrows? Skulls.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. So it shows, another dimension that Amazons are warriors as well. While we're staying in Volume 2, here's one of Phil Jimenez cover that I just don't think gets enough love. I'm really drawn to this cover.
Nice.
Good storyline too. This one is a classic cover, and it's an amazing story. This found Wonder Woman traveling in time, and she ends up running into her mother in the 1940s, but she can't let her mother know who she is, so she disguises herself as Miss America. Great issue. Another Phil Jimenez issue with an Adam Hughes cover art. Wonder Woman has a lot of issues that I call kind of poster covers. I mean, look at that. Does that not look like that would be a poster?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And just in case y'all are wondering, those legs go all the way up.
This one is a little Donna Troy heavy, but from the John Byrne era, but I still like this. I like this one a lot too. And another one from actually, this jumps back to Volume 1. I really like Wonder Woman books where there's 2 Wonder Woman. be it either the Earth 1 and the Earth 2 Wonder Woman meeting, or a robot Wonder Woman or imposter or something. And this is one that from the Silver Age of Volume 1 that I really like. 2 Wonder Women and an electric eel. Do you want me to kind of keep going back to Volume 1, or you want me to go forward with a little more modern things?
It's whichever way we want to go. And so I did want to pause to ask you a question. So you mentioned Donna Troy. Sometimes fans, especially very big fans of certain characters, don't like these offshoots, right? So you got Miles Morales, Some people say, "Oh no, it's Peter Parker," or "No, nothing," right? Or it's Bruce Wayne, Batman, or nothing. What do you feel? What do you feel with Donna Troy? Anything?
I think Donna Troy is her own character. I've really enjoyed all the different Who is Donna Troy stories that have been done throughout the years. Some have been done better than the others. But Donna Troy in the red jumpsuit as part of the Teen Titans is my jam.
Okay.
I love that. So big Donna Troy fan too. I like Supergirl a lot. I know Copy 801 is here, and he's a Supergirl fan. I don't know if he has this book or not. Supergirl and Wonder Woman have teamed up a few times, including a Brave and the Bold issue. And then this storyline. What's interesting about this storyline is this was the last issue before Wonder Woman went mod. And once she went mod, which happened here, they ended up taking her powers away. And for several years, she was powerless. She ran a clothing boutique, and she had adventures with a Chinese mentor named I Ching. And that lasted for several years. They were really trying to reinvent the Wonder Woman title. I think it was because of poor sales. When they finished with that, they came back in issue number 204 with one of my favorite covers. This was the introduction to Nubia, Wonder Woman's African-American Amazon sister. I'd love a poster of this. And Nubia is part of the Future State that just came out by DC Comics too. But this was her very first appearance in Wonder Woman 204. This would be 1973.
So during the powerless times, I know that Wonder Woman has a lot of bondage covers, what people refer to as bondage covers. Is that when that happened, was during that powerless time?
No, they actually started in the very beginning of her golden age. That's where you'll find the majority of her bondage covers. There seems to be less and less in those as time goes on. This is a cover that just in the last few years, I've really taken a deep appreciation to. This book was always hard for me to find in the wild for some reason. As a childhood collector, I wasn't able to find it. It took well into my adulthood, and it's not a key issue. It's not an expensive issue. Just for whatever reason, I could not find this one. This issue, 250, is a favorite cover of mine. And as a matter of fact, Wonder Woman loses the contest and they crown a new Wonder Woman. This cover was homaged a few years later. Let me see if I can.
So who did that homage there?
Phil Jimenez did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know Neil Adams did several homages of some Batman stuff about that same time.
This is the follow-up issue 251 of the two-issue storyline. They would end up adapting this same storyline, but make it much longer in volume 2 and introduce the character Artemis, who becomes the new Wonder Woman. Back here in these issues, there was an Amazon named Orana, who became the new Wonder Woman. And incidentally enough, in Patty Jenkins' 2017 Wonder Woman film, did you see that movie, by the way?
The old one, yeah, the first one, not
with Gal Gadot, yeah. Do you remember the scene where there's an Amazon that gets shot right after Steve is on the island? The Nazis invade.
Yeah, the woman that trained her or whatever.
It was before then, but there's this Amazon that rappels down, and she gets shot, and that's the first time that Diana sees a bullet. That is, according to Patty Jenkins, that Amazon is Orana.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Comic Mag Musing says the Powerless run is what him and his wife are focused on collecting.
Yeah, last year they just celebrated the 50th anniversary of that, and there's an omnibus that collects everything, I think, but one issue. As a child, I bought those as back issues as a child. I didn't enjoy them very much, but rereading them as an adult, they're very good.
So did the Powerless run do anything positive for Wonder Woman, meaning get new fans, increase sales, or did they say, hey, look, obviously this ain't working. Let's go back to the drawing board with classic, Wonder Woman?
I think it brought some new fans in for a while, but at the same time too, it was Gloria Steinem that actually got Wonder Woman back her power. She did an article in the very first issue of Ms. Magazine and put the classic Wonder Woman on the cover. And she said, why would you take away and depower a female like this? Wonder Woman is hope for little girls. Why would you take that away from her? What are you doing? And DC kind of woke up at that point and said, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And brought her back.
So talking about that, let's delve into that. So when was Wonder Woman's first appearance? What year?
1941, All-Star Comics number 8, and it was an insert story. She doesn't interact with the Justice Society in that issue. It's just an insert, like an 8-page insert.
That's the one where they're all gathered around the crystal ball or whatever.
Yes, yep, that is. So she's not even on the cover.
Right. So that long ago, think about, everything was all men back then, right?
Yep.
So DC comes out with an empowering woman, she, except for that time that she was depowered.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, DC led the way when it come to making strong female characters. I guess the point that I'm making is that in this day and age, a lot of people have gone back and said, oh, well, comics aren't, woman enough and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, where have you been? How long has Wonder Woman been around?
Wonder Woman's creator was a psychologist and a very smart man. He envisioned that there would come a time where women's rights would have a huge movement. He thought that would happen in the 1970s. It ended up happening in the 1960s. But people think that Wonder Woman was created for little girls. And certainly, he was happy that Wonder Woman is a little girl role model. Wonder Woman was created for little boys. He wanted little boys to be in the back of their minds already accustomed to seeing a strong and powerful woman. So when this women's movement happened, it would not be a shock to their inner psyche.
And talking about that, he's also the guy that invented the lie detector.
Yeah, he invented the lie detector. So for those that don't know, think about the lie detector, then think about the magic lasso. They're pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Mag Musings mentioned, yes.
Yeah, she did. Very progressive, especially for the time. There was a movie that was made just a few years back, and according to Marston's family, it's pretty fictional. And they wrote a love story that they wanted to write it that weren't necessarily based on facts, but there's some big chunks that are true in there, and it's an interesting movie. And you'll see Wonder Woman being created in that movie too.
So that's with most things, though, right? Because whoever is making the movie is telling it from their angle, and they're telling it to make sales. So I'm sure there's some nuggets of truth in there, but
I personally think but if you're telling the story of someone's life, someone who really lived, you should keep it as real and honest the way it is. You can't change things because it's a better story if this happened. But if it didn't happen, you're not telling that person's life story accurately.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Although a lot of people don't follow that logic. I read Steve Jobs's autobiography. Was it a biography when somebody else writes it? Auto when you do? Yes. I get it confused. So, when he was getting the guy to write it, he basically said, "Look, talk to anybody you want to. I'm not putting anybody off of the table for if they dog me out, if they say I'm a dirty scumbag, telling all my dirt, I don't care. I want everybody to know everything about me. most people don't do that. Most people are like, well, don't talk to that person because they're going to tell you some dirty stuff about me.
Yeah.
They want all the good stuff, not the
Yeah.
bad.
That's why I say, don't you talk to that Cookie, because Cookie knows all my secrets, and I don't want him telling. So
Captain Comics says, what year did Wonder Woman meet Superman?
that's a great question. Off the top of my head, without researching it, I would say it would be 1942. She was created, came out in 41, and I think it would be 42 that they would meet, and I'm pretty sure it was in All-Star Comics. Of course, Superman and Wonder Woman would team up quite often, and in one incarnation of DC, they were in a relationship together. I myself always kind of go back to this classic story. I remember having this in kindergarten and loving this book so much. The story is 1970s craziness like you would expect it to be, but there's just something about this and the artwork inside, and this story just means so much to me. And I actually own a few pages of original art from the interior of it too, so that helps too.
Yeah. So you mentioned about, and that's the New 52 where they had a thing going on. Did you like that angle of it or no?
It didn't bother me. It definitely was a different dynamic to show that that hadn't been shown before. Their own title, the Superman and Wonder Woman comic book, because they had their own comic book too. I did not care for that comic. The first issue was so good and it hooked me so well, and then the follow-up issues were nothing but disappointment. And it's one of those, if you don't read, I'm just a Wonder Woman collector. If you don't read the next issue in Action and then Superman and then this title and then go back to Superman and Wonder Woman, you're completely lost. So you go from issue to issue without reading the stuff that happened in the other titles, you just get lost. And it's one of the few comic books, and it's the only comic book Wonder Woman oriented that I can think of. I was so close to pulling this. I was about to go to the LCS and say, cut it from my list. I don't want it anymore. And right at the time I was about to do that, it announced that it was going to be canceled in like 4 or 5 issues. And I thought, okay, well then I'll wait out the rest of the run. But I was that close to pulling the trigger on that.
So the one Wonder Woman comic that I own, Wonder Woman Titled, is the 300 homage.
Okay.
Yeah. I found that on the hunt. Where was I at? I was in Arkansas and stopped at a comic shop and found it there. But I like those movie homage posters.
Yeah, DC did a whole bunch of those too. Wonder Woman more recently, to show some stuff. This, I mean, everyone loves Art Germ. I'm no exception. And we've got, I just think that is just incredible. I mean, Art Germ's done a few Wonder Woman stuff, but this one, this one just takes my breath away.
I'm not a big sideways cover fan, but you couldn't tell that story in the art without it being sideways.
Exactly.
If they cut it off, it just wouldn't do it any justice.
I like this one a lot because of the perspective of it. I can't think of any other cover where Steve is there. He's laying on the island, and Diana's running towards him to discover him, and this will change her life. This is issue number 2, obviously, of Rebirth. This came all the way from Australia. It was an exclusive for King's Comics over there. This is one of the variant covers for Wonder Woman 750. Nicola Scott did this. She's done a series of these too with Superman and Batman and Green Lantern. Then she did a Robin one too that she only sells as prints. It didn't actually make a cover. But isn't that beautiful?
Oh yeah. And did you get, when they had the 750 release, did you get all the different covers for it?
There were 51 different covers. I have them all, which include this Adam.
Oh yeah.
Alex Ross. I'm sorry. No.
That's Alex
Ross. Yeah, Alex Ross. This is just gorgeous. Yeah, that kind of takes the fun out of it for me when they put out so many different variant covers. I think as a collector, everyone should have the right to be able to get all the books. And, and people say, well, that was a $10 book and there were 51 different covers, 51 times $10. And I just laugh. I'm like, you think all these books were $10?
Yeah, exactly.
Some of these books, you get 2 books and it's $90.
Mm-hmm. That's the Jim Lee one, right?
Yeah. This isn't 750. This is a 759, but just an example of some more recent Wonder Woman covers. And jumping back to volume 3, this is the variant cover of issue number 1.
You just showed that over on your IG page.
Yeah, I did today. And this was the main cover too, where you got Wonder Woman, but in the back you have a whole bunch of Batman villains. You got, you're getting some glare. You got Penguin and Joker and Harley Quinn, among others, in the background. So I thought that was interesting that it was his rogues gallery.
Yeah.
Another one that I like, all the different Wonder Woman are represented here. And we talked earlier about Kathie Lee Crosby. Even the Kathie Lee Crosby Wonder Woman is in the interior of this book.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it when they do those Easter crossover type Easter egg things. Yeah.
Two more that I also grabbed. I'm just kind of jumping back again to volume 1. This was always a favorite cover. It's a little bit misleading when you look at the cover and read the story. But I certainly like the cover. I like the detail that's paid and the artwork on it. This is 286. And then, as wild as this could be, who would ever thought that Etta Candy would be Wonder Woman? Well, she was in one issue. And this has a lot of Wonder Woman's rogues gallery coming after Etta Candy up here, who gets to take a turn being Wonder Woman. It's just a fun story.
So let's hold on a second. Let me give everybody a glimpse of Gal. Sure. So we have got 15 people up in the chat, and so remember that if you haven't already subbed up Magic Lasso, go ahead and sub him up over on the IG and the YouTube. And so we are, if we get 20 in the chat today, I'm going to be giving away 2 Wonder Woman books. We've got Wonder Woman 106. Done by John Byrne, and then more recently, Death Metal, Dark Knight's Death Metal #7, the Wonder Woman foil cover there by Capullo. And so yeah, it's bouncing back and forth between 15 and 16. So just wanted to let everybody know. And so if you don't mind sharing it out there on the IGs and all that kind of good stuff, so we can get a couple more people in here and give those books away. Phil Ailing said, just subbed you up.
Awesome. So, thank you, Phil. Thank you, everyone, for the support. It's been amazing.
Yeah. So yeah. So let's going back to the old stuff. Well, before I get there, some awesome Jim Lee art, which I'm a big Jim Lee fan, so I'm probably slanted from that angle. Is the Justice League comic where Superman and Wonder Woman are embraced with the lasso?
Oh yeah.
So I own that one. So
I have a poster of that, actually.
Okay, cool. Claim Death Metal 7. Look, help us get 20 in here, and it could be yours. We're at 17. Good. So who's this Magic Lasso guy? Z Collect says he doesn't look like a She-Hulk fan.
oh, Z, how wrong you are. I love the She-Hulky. Savage She-Hulk, just early last year, I completed my run of Savage She-Hulk. That cover to issue number 1, I could look at that image all day. I even bought the homage that was done to that.
Immortal She-Hulk.
The Immortal She-Hulk with the homage. I actually like the trade dress version better than the other cover, which usually I like the Virgin covers better, but in this case, I thought the trade dress just made it even better. So that's the one that I scooped up. So I love me some She-Hulk.
And that's one of those things when you get people on there, there's obviously with your name, your YouTube name, people obviously think, okay, this is all this guy does. And because it's so extensive, I mean, Wonder Woman's been around a long time. For you to have the kind of collection you do with Wonder Woman, that takes a lot of funds. So, and so people think, okay, well, this guy, all he does is eat, sleep, and breathe Wonder Woman. But there's other things that, you collect. You mentioned She-Hulk. Anything else that you typically do right now?
First of all, the Bronze Age is just my jam and my wheelhouse. I just love Bronze Age Marvel. I love Bronze Age DC. there hasn't been a Bronze Age book that I really haven't enjoyed. I haven't found one yet that I haven't enjoyed, even if it's a title that I'm not, that isn't my main thing. But I'm working on a lot of collections right now. Just looking at Marvel alone, I'm trying to work on my Avengers. I'm trying to pick up as many Scarlet Witch books as I can too. I think that if I wasn't a Wonder Woman collector, I'd probably be a Scarlet Witch collector, honestly. X-Men, especially the John Byrne X-Men, 94, giant size. I'd love to have a giant size X-Men 1 and then 94 on up. But I'm working on that 94 to 126 or 125 range is what I think. I have some filled in there, but I'm really trying to fill that out. Spider-Woman. I love Spider-Woman. I love Dazzler. I like a lot of the female heroes. I kind of been into Black Widow lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so are you majorly like more a run collector or e collector?
I think I'm a character collector.
Okay.
Give me a good book or a good cover, a good story on a character I like, and I don't care what the title is or how many issues I have or don't have of that. But there's a cutoff too. Like Spider-Woman's a good example. I love the Bronze Age Spider-Woman so much, but more the modern day stuff, the modern stuff in Spider-Woman just isn't my stuff. So like there comes a point, like I collect Spider-Woman from her incarnation up to like the end of the Bronze Age. Then I'm just kind of, the rest of it just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. And so, so I've got Spider-Woman 1 through 6. And I started reading the brand new Spider-Woman that just came out.
Mm-hmm. I read a couple of those.
I liked it. I thought it was a fun read. And then when the last issue where they were going with Captain Marvel, which for the record, if nobody didn't know this already, I do not like what they did with Captain Marvel character. I think they butchered in character assassination and all that. We won't get into, but when they started the team up, I said, I know where this book is going. I don't want to hear it. So I dropped it. But like you, I think the Bronze, because if you read a Golden Age or even a Silver Age book, they're fun to read, but in moderation. And I'm just speaking for myself because it's fun to read from a historical standpoint because you can kind of see where things were at when it was written. A lot of it's not applicable to today, and that's fine to me. But it's like super cheesy, like really cheesy. And you can only take so much cheese unless you're a Packers fan, and therefore I can take a lot of it. But but when you get to the bronze and copper stuff, there's enough modern in there to make it an interesting read, but it's not so slanted, which I think a lot of comics unfortunately are today. So I'm like you, and it's probably our age too. I mean, if you're a certain age and you grew up reading those issues, that's probably what you're in tune to as well. Sith made mention. He said, yeah, he people think he only collects Star Wars stuff, and he's got a non-Star Wars thing. He was on Instagram posting a lot of non-Star Wars pictures, and then finally came back and posted Star Wars, and people were making comments like, "Oh, you ran out of stuff," or he was just trying to show, "Hey, I do collect other things besides."
Yeah,
Star
I do too. I have about 4,600 books in my collection right now. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was at 403 just a moment ago. That's awesome. But I have about 4,600 comic books, mostly Marvel and DC. Very, very few indies, a very small percentage. Not a lot of Golden Age. I'm really into Golden Age. I have such an appreciation for that now. I didn't enjoy reading even Golden Age reprints as a child, but in my adulthood, going back and reading them, I really do enjoy them. I have a couple Golden Age things that I can show you right now. This is the oldest book that's in my collection. It's from 1946. And it's Sensation Comics number 55. So, I mean, this is the original team that created Wonder Woman doing this story. I have another Sensation comic. That one was A-okayed from Comic Books NYC. This one was A-okayed from Comic Food 2814. I remember as a kid, I always thought, boy, if you get a Sensation Comics, you'll really have made it as a comic book collector. And just last year, I got my first 3 Sensation Comics in my collection.
So I noticed a lot of raw comics. Are you a non-graded comic kind of a guy?
No, I don't have anything against graded comic books. I have 11 in my collection right now. I didn't get my first graded comic until last year, as a matter of fact. And out of the 11 graded comics that I have, I only actually purchased one with my own money. The rest have either been prize wins or AOKs. So I've been quite fortunate. And I just won my 12th slab last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I go back and forth on the slab thing. And I think it's just part of it. Ah, yeah, nice one there.
This one, some folks might have seen that their LCS, either it was this week or last week. Nicola Scott did a companion piece to this during one of their Wonder Woman 84. DC just did a whole bunch of Wonder Woman 84 covers as a theme. And she did the Gal Gadot. And the stars are going in the other direction. And it's the Gal Gadot kind of in a similar pose. So it's a nice companion piece to this book. Little 70s goodness that takes place in the 40s. The Wonder Woman Spectacular.
Well, and we were talking about stuff that, it's not, it's kind of taboo today, but like that Nazi symbol on there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, I showed this to you before we started, but this is an Italian edition. Those that might remember, DC Comics Presents 41 featured Superman and Joker, but on the original cover on the side, it had a little insert. So that would run down here, and it would say also in this issue. And it was the issue where Wonder Woman went from to the double W symbol on her halter top. And this, years later, I think this was a 2001 or 2002, got reprinted in Italy. And this became an official cover. And I absolutely had to have this. I'm really into the foreign editions. I've learned a lot about them from your channel and the guests that you've had on. And I love them, especially if they're a little bit different or have some type of variation than what the US version had.
Yeah, those are, you wouldn't happen to have any of those, because I know you have some Wonder Woman that are different in the foreign versus the English version.
I don't have them here right in front of me, but coming to my channel soon, I've got two that I just purchased that have, one is a coloring difference. And when you see the coloring difference, it just puts the whole book in a different perspective. So I'll be showing that in a few weeks, probably on my channel in one of my comic book editions videos.
So it's funny because you mentioned foreign comics, and Rob's Comics comes in here. I don't know if it's YouTube putting it out in the algorithm or Rob heard it through the grapevine somewhere, but that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Rob's got some amazing editions in his collection.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know or not familiar, I talked international comics or foreign editions. They're not variants, but editions with Rob and twice, and then him and Define or Matt as Define 999. Then as the force is strong. But yeah.
While we're talking about foreign editions, really quick, I don't think it exists. If it does exist, I hope someone can show me or tell me it does exist, so I know I can pursue trying to find one. When we were talking about DC Comics Presents, so when they would do these little inserts, they do them on the side, and just kind of, it's not the main cover. Well, when they did that for DC Comics Presents 26, which introduced the new team of Teen Titans, it's also the first appearance of Cyborg and Starfire and Raven. I would love to know if there's a foreign edition that features that cover as the main cover. Hopefully I explained what I'm looking for correctly. But if someone knows if that exists somewhere, please let me know, because I've kind of looked lightly, but I don't think it actually exists.
Okay. Well, Sleepy Reader 666 is asking, have you collected any original Wonder Woman art?
Yes, I have. Not recently. I do have one cover, which I feel so fortunate to own a cover from a 1981 comic, Rich Buckler artwork, Dick Giordano inks. I have some interior pages. I haven't gotten original art in probably 15 years or so. I have a good handful. I will be on someday, and it's me that has been the delay for this, because he's been asking. I will be on Original Art Hour with Kathie sometime, showing that off. And I do have 2 Wonder Woman commissions done by an artist that has professionally drawn Wonder Woman for quite some time that the public has never seen, and I will reveal those whenever I end up on that show. And like I said, I'm the one who's delaying getting on there. I just don't have all my stuff, and some stuff's in storage, and I got to get it all together.
So talking about original art, I know a lot of times, at least I do think, okay, the original art pages, that were ended up using for the comic. But I like to do, especially like in person, get commissions from artists on characters that I like on sketch covers. So do you have some of those, or do you collect that?
I don't have any Wonder Woman ones. The closest I have is a very nice, and it's just on a board. It's not on a sketch cover, but Comic Kid 84 did me a great cheetah, a pinup style cheetah that I just love. But I do have a goal. I did buy an extra blank Wonder Woman 750, and I already know what I want it to look like. I just have to find the person to draw it for me yet. So, hey, thanks, Disco Disco. I saw some of the nice things you said about me too in the comments, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so and when I'm hunting somebody down, I like to, because you're spending good money for those. I mean, you're talking about $300-400 depending on who you're getting to do it. Neil Adams is $1,000, so forget that, at least for me. But and he's one I would like to have, like with Batman, right?
Yeah.
But I like characters that were drawn that they nailed it every time, because some artists, they're good on certain ones, but they're just like known. So I think about Jim Lee in the 90s, Wolverine, right? Or maybe the early 2000s, I'm thinking his Batman.
Yeah.
But there's certain people that always nailed it. I said, well, if I'm going to pay that much for original art, I want to know that they are going to nail it for me, right?
Absolutely.
That they've proven they can draw this character in any number of poses. Yeah. Is there any artist that always nails it for you on Wonder Woman?
There's a few. Jose Delbo is my favorite Wonder Woman artist, and he drew her, in the Bronze Age for like 50 or 60 some consecutive issues. So he knows how to draw her. He draws her the way that brings back memories for me. George Perez, I mean, is amazing. Even though, he's had some health problems with his eyesight and stuff too, and his work has declined a little bit, but even his work declining a little bit is still amazing. I like Nicola Scott a lot. Phil Jimenez, which essentially is George Perez light. But Nicola Scott, I like a lot. Alex Ross, I mean.
What about Jenny Frison?
Oh, yeah, Jenny Frison. I'm glad you mentioned her. I met her, too, and she was so nice. Just so super sweet and nice.
Yeah, she seemed like a nice lady. But, yeah, those Wonder Woman covers, I mean, to me, nailed it as a non-Wonder Woman collector.
Yep.
So yeah, that's interesting. So talking about earlier, we talked about the depowered thing, that kind of changed her whole deal. So in the 90s, as did with a lot of comic people, characters, that is, they changed their outfits. And Wonder Woman had the black spandex shorts with the jacket.
Right? We call that biker chick.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, were you just kind of rolling your eyes the whole time, or did you read it and go, yeah, I'm digging this?
No, that was actually a good storyline, because someone was wearing the classic Wonder Woman uniform at that time. It just was not her. It was a character named Artemis. Yeah, I dig that, but we've had some interesting incarnations. When she was depowered, she wore white. White was like her outfit. Anything she wore was pretty much white. And then we had the biker chick, as you mentioned. We've had Wonder Woman with short hair, which was, a huge shocker. We've had Wonder Woman with pants. There's one that was done, I think, in the last volume, and it was David Finch who created it. But I mean, it's the editors who are telling him to make a new outfit, and that's probably my least favorite of Wonder Woman's outfits and appearances. But I like it in the sense of looking at it and going, that's so bad. That's, thank goodness that didn't stick, there's a
Yeah.
lot of different outfits, but
But, David, I like David and his wife's, run on Wonder Woman. But yeah.
by the way, on his YouTube channel, he is drawing Wonder Woman live tonight.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's good to know. He's a really nice guy. I've met him and his wife.
Yeah. He helped me get a Wonder Woman variant that I didn't know how I was going to get my hands on any other way. And I contacted him. And, a lot of creators don't follow up or even reply to a fan. And he made sure that I got this variant that I needed and was so kind. And so that, right there, just as a human being, I appreciate that kindness that he showed to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like what you were mentioning earlier with Linda Carter. Sometimes you hate to visit them a second time because you're afraid, okay, now it's going to ruin everything. I had this great picture, great experience. And so it's fun when you can meet a creator who has had the success that Finch has had and still is that down to earth, appreciates the fans, knows the fans are the ones that are paying their hard earned money to do what he likes to do, which is to purchase his art.
Yep.
And so, I've met him a couple of times. And so it was fun both times. And Sleepy Reader 666 says Cliff.
Chang? Yeah. He's good. I really got into his run, his volume, and his story of Wonder Woman, but it lasted so long. And I don't mean his arc, it's his storyline. His storyline lasted, essentially 52 issues. And I wanted to see that storyline wrapped up sooner. And I wanted to see what would he do with Cheetah, or what would he do with Dr. Poison, or what would he do with the Silver Swan? What's his take on these type of villains? And I never got to see that. And I really feel that was a missed opportunity. Oh, yeah. I waited 4 hours and 50 minutes in line to meet him at C2E2 2019. It was his first appearance after announcing that he was retiring.
Oh, wow.
So there was a line.
Thanks, Agu. So we are a little over an hour now. So we're going to kind of start landing the plane, so to speak. The invisible plane.
Yep.
You saw what I did there, right?
I saw what you did.
So
I didn't see it.
True. So let's talk the Wonder Woman 84.
Okay.
A lot of people panned it.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think that Marvel has set the bar so high, and the standard, whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't really matter. You can like them or not, but they've set the standard because they've been so successful with it.
Yeah.
So now everybody else, and it's the same way with Bloodshot. It was a shoot 'em up. I mean, that's what Bloodshot does. And it was Vin Diesel. What did you really expect?
Mm-hmm.
People think that, there's got to be some corny humor. There has to be, this all dynamic that Marvel can make work in order for us to replicate lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's really what DC or anybody else needs to do in order to be successful. I feel like they have done really well with the first one and Aquaman
mm-hmm.
and Shazam.
Yep.
So do that. So what do you feel like, and because I know you probably heard the critics and heard, everything else, as a Wonder Woman guy, what do you feel like was the problem, or did you feel like there was any problem with the newest Wonder Woman incarnation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the film has problems, but I've said this and I'm going to say it again. This movie is not Halle Berry's Catwoman, and people are reacting like this movie is Catwoman. It's not Catwoman. There's some things that don't make sense in the movie. There's some moments where the movie's too long and it gets a little dry. But what I found is people that watch it in one sitting, not just watching an hour here and then get up and do something and come back and watch 15 more minutes, or people that watch it in one sitting, and people they enjoy it more. And people seem to enjoy it more the second time they watch it all the way through. I've watched it 4 times now. I will watch it another time this week before it goes off of HBO Max. I myself would have preferred Cheetah to be the main antagonist. I did not watch any of the trailers for this movie before it came out. I tried to stay as spoiler-free as I could. I mean, you still see some images, you see products and stuff too, and you get an idea of what's going to happen. I definitely knew the Invisible Jet was going to be in this movie somewhere. It's not as bad as what some people are saying. And I'll tell you a big pet peeve, and I forget the band's name, please forgive me, but there's a band in there. Someone walks by Steve Trevor and they're wearing this band's t-shirt. And people have been saying, that album didn't come out until 1986. This is historically inaccurate and the movie is ruined. First of all, it is historically accurate. Patty Jenkins got this t-shirt from the lead singer himself, who said that the album came out in 1984, but didn't come out on CD until 1986. So it is accurate, but just the fact that someone wearing a t-shirt that they don't even zoom in on, and you say the entire movie is ruined because it's not historically accurate. I mean, I'm a country music fan, and I love the movie Coal Miner's Daughter. Well, in the scene, there's a scene where Patsy Cline plays the Grand Ole Opry for the first time after her car accident, and she sings the song Sweet Dreams. Mm-hmm. Well, the car accident happened in 1961, and Patsy didn't record Sweet Dreams till 1963. Am I saying that, oh, I hate this movie, it's historically inaccurate? No, you just have to roll with it, you know?
Yeah. And I understand that people are busy, and so they watch YouTube and read stuff to get their idea as to whether or not they want to spend their hard-earned dollar or precious time on watching something or spending money on something. I get that.
Yeah, I do too.
But I think that as a society as a whole, people need to quit worrying about what other people think or about something and go judge it for yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, if you don't like it, that's your opinion. Mm-hmm. And if other people like it, that's their opinion, and it's okay to have 2 different opinions. You know, it's funny how it seems to me that, and I'm kind of branching off here, but it seems to me like everybody's like, okay, well, it's panned, so it's total garbage, and they go and they watch it, and then they say, yeah, it's garbage. They're already biased towards that end, right? Like you were saying, I'm trying to not be that way because you're already a huge Wonder Woman fan, so you do have that, you know, slight bias, but you're trying, okay, I don't want to hear what everybody else has to say. I want to judge for myself.
I thought, go ahead.
And it's, in your opinion, it's a decent movie, got problems, you know, fine. Everybody doesn't have to like it. No, but don't everybody hate on it just because everybody else does. I mean,
I thought the movie would be my favorite movie of all time because it's set in my favorite era of comic books. The colors are brighter. I really like that. And honestly, it wasn't my favorite movie of all time. It's not horrible, but it's not my favorite movie of all time.
So Six Face is trying to be controversial up in here. You know, I read the book, The Last Jedi. Almost always you get more out of a book and then you do a movie because they're going to clip stuff that in the book's not. But talking about The Last Jedi, we're going to be back over to Wonder Woman. The thing with Last Jedi, the only couple things I felt like they downplayed Luke too much. Okay, I feel like they put him to the point to where he was totally not the guy everybody remembered and wanted from Return of the Jedi, and obviously everybody wanted from The Mandalorian, which was very successful. You know, he could have been down on on himself for his failure, but I think that they pushed it too far. Okay, then the other thing was that they made it to where, okay, like the little broom boy. Okay, everybody can use the Force now without any practice. That's so like non-canon, if you will. Would I have liked to have seen a fight between Kylo and Luke? Sure. But the way they done it, I felt was cool enough, right? Yeah. So, you know, and everybody can have their opinion. I mean, it's not the end of the world.
Hey, I would have liked to have seen Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia take that lightsaber and have her moment with the lightsaber and have her a big lightsaber fight. I would have loved that. Of course, I think. Yeah. I mean, there's that prevented that, but
right. And I would have rather had that than the whole Mary Poppins in the space deal. Yeah. I don't even know why they had to have that, but you know, for her to take the lightsaber fight to hold off her son.
Yeah.
Maybe, as opposed to the way they done it. I don't know, but everybody, there's always going to be, hindsight's 2020. There's always going to be somebody out there that doesn't like something. So, collect what you like, watch what you like, read what you like, and you won't have to worry about all that other stuff. So,
that's right.
Let's see. We're spoiled. Oh yeah. Ooh.
I try not to remember that.
Oh wow. Yeah. I remember going to the movies and seeing that, and I'm like, Superman, because being the age that we are, I mean, that was our Superman, right?
Yep.
And so that's Superman, and then it's like, this is not as good as what I think it should be. Certainly not as good as the other ones, but
anyone, like I said, though, anyone that hates on Wonder Woman 84, you go watch yourself the Kathie Lee Crosby Wonder Woman movie, and then you come back and tell me how Wonder Woman 84 is.
Well, so in other words, what Magic Lasso is telling you is that it's kind of like, I seen this guy did a video the other day of what you tell your wife when you come in with a bunch of boxes of comics, yep. Right? And he walks in, he says, "I'm cheating on you." She goes, "You're a what?" He said, "No, I'm just joking." So this wasn't as bad as what he said he was doing. So, yeah, so that's what Lasso's telling you, just go watch that. It's not as bad. What's going on, Kachun? And yeah. And then sometimes you have that, right?
Yeah, it did. So,
yeah. So we've got 21 people up in the chat all of a sudden. Yeah. So we are going to go ahead and give away these books. So okay. I'm going to use your knowledge, okay. Wonder Woman knowledge. Mm-hmm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to formulate right now a question in your mind to ask the chat. I'm going to have a start line. And mm-hmm. as soon as you're about to finish the question, I'm going to drop that starting line. And the first person that answers it correctly after the starting lines drop will be the winner of these two books. That's Dark Knight's Death Metal #7, the Wonder Woman foil cover, and also the Wonder Woman 106 John Byrne cover. So,
okay. Hey, two brothers.
Hey, two brothers. What's going on, man?
Okay, I think I have a question. I think it's an easy question. I think that we'll be pretty good on this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we are. So for the longest time, for decades upon decades, Wonder Woman was from Paradise Island. But then what creator came in and named the city in Paradise Island that she's from Themyscira? So once again, who is the creator essentially that created Themyscira as the capital city of Paradise Island? Because before then it was just called Paradise Island. I see a winner already.
Do we make it too easy? I didn't know it. So, and you've got a bunch of people. Las Cruces, I think you're all. Good answer. Good answer though. Two brothers, William Smallwood. What's going on? So Freaky Louie looks like is the winner chicken dinner. So you have shown, my friend, that you have some Wonder Woman about you, and for that, he's going to loop the lasso a couple times. So hit me up on IG with your address, and I will send over these to you.
Good stuff.
And I wanted to go back to Mr. Garrell said, "Hey, complaining about it doesn't improve it." Exactly.
True. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there does come a point to where we can exchange ideas. Then there comes a point of lagging or just down, and you're what do they call that on SNL? Negative Nancy. Mm-hmm. Or no, is it Negative Nancy or what's the other?
I just know that tickets on the complain train are very cheap, so people jump on that all the time.
True that. So we are setting down the invisible plane as we speak. So why don't you go ahead as we're closing out, tell us anything that we didn't already go over that you wanted to make sure that we covered, maybe a comic that you wanted to show off as we were getting here, and what's going on your channel
sure.
to let everybody know.
So as I wrap up, I want to thank everyone who spent time with me in Southern Comic Geek this afternoon. I have my own YouTube channel with content on it. I'm not just a chat all-star. Magic Lasso is the name of it. Thank you to everyone who subscribed and shown support to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope that you'll head on over. There's more stuff than just Wonder Woman on there, especially if you like Bronze Age comic books. I think that you would enjoy my channel. So recently I have released this, by the way, is Wonder Woman 98, the very first Silver Age appearance of Wonder Woman. It was an AOK from Man Cave Comics. So recently I just released my first thought reaction from watching the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. I also did my 2020, the year in slabs, and I showed off all of the slabs that I got in 2020. There were 10 of them, which were the first 10 slabs in my collection. Now you're looking at Wonder Woman number 105. It's considered scarce, according to the Overstreet price guide. Before that, I had a live AOK, my first ever live feed that I did on my channel with Comics for Thomas. He sent some great Marvel books and stuff that just blew my mind. Coming up on my channel, I have some more AOKs that I'll be opening up. I bought my first book off of my 2021 top 12 goal list. So that's in the mail to me as we speak, and I'll be showing that soon on my channel. I have some other foreign editions that I'll be showing soon too. I have a few new actual themed topic videos that shows that I'm going to start on my channel too. Those will be coming sometime in the first quarter. So I'm excited about those as well. I love interacting with folks, and I appreciate all the friendship and support and all the kindness that everyone consistently shows me. How's that for a mouthful?
All right, good deal. So what's that?
How's that for a mouthful?
Oh yeah, for sure. So Kachung says Night Terminator, Last Starfighter, Karate Kid, Dune. I've never seen Dune. All the other ones are great. Yeah, I think they compress the books are like a lot more extensive, and they try to compress it all into one, which I think is what Marvel's X-Men or Sony's I'll get it right in a minute. Fox's X-Men problem was with Dark Phoenix saga. That was a saga buildup, you know. Not, it just doesn't do right compressing it all down there together. So
plus you don't take the same guy that wrote the first Dark Phoenix movie that nobody liked and then hire him to write the second Dark Phoenix movie that nobody liked more.
Talking about 80s movies, McFly, because that's common sense, right?
Yeah.
One would think. But so I have content dropping on my channel just about every day. I do a big foreign comic reveal tomorrow. Got another Walmart packs opening Wednesday, and then some new comic book stuff day Thursday. I'm going to be heading out of town, which means I'm going to be hitting up some shops, and this time it's going to be in North Alabama. I'm going to be hitting some shops up there, so be looking for some stuff on that. And we are going to be announcing the March to 1,000 subs. So I crossed over 804 subscribers over the weekend. And thanks to all of you that did sub me up out there and got the word out as we push towards that. But we're going to be doing some more prizes. Surprise, surprise, right? And but so be sure to sub the channel up. Hit the like button before you get out of here and the bell notification so that when videos like this drop ever so randomly, you will be an informed person and can make the choice to watch it now or later. But as long as you watch it, we do appreciate you. Thanks to the usually 15 to 20 people that have been joining us for a little over an hour now, talking about some Wonder Woman goodness. And that's all I've got. You got anything else you want to add?
Nope. Just hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
All right. Same here. And till next time, guys, keep reading, gang. Keep cool. Adios.